usually do is, there's a couple of different ways you can go about making a view. You could manually kind of navigate into it and render it out if you wanted to. I do still see a lot of people doing that. But what I usually like to do is actually just to use the line tool. And the first point that I'm going to click on is going to be kind of where I'm standing. And the second point I'm going to click is basically where I want my camera to look at. So again, that's just using the line tool. That's just there for me as a reference, essentially. Now what I can do with this line tool, if I go up to view, you remember we covered a lot of things like rendering, for instance, where we could change OpenGL, wireframe, stuff like that. I told you before you can also create your different viewports and sections from there. One of the other things you can do is set 3D view. I quite like this. So I click on set 3D view, and you see up in the top left in the ribbon it says click to select a point. I'm going to click the first one. And then again it says click to select point. So that's going to be where I'm looking at. So the first point you click is where you're standing. The second point you click is where you're going to be pointing your camera to. You can then set your viewer height. So how high is an average person? I'm about 170 centimeters. I'm fairly short though. So I'll say about 170 is probably good. So if we're working in millimeters, I'm going to put that about 1700. And then we've got your look toward height. Now, I usually keep this exactly the same. Essentially, this is kind of like your camera tilt, let's say. So if you're looking up towards something, maybe this floor up there, maybe you want to capture that. Maybe you would set your look toward height as, I don't know, 5 or 6 meters or something. But usually, if you want a really good interior kind of perspective view, all the best ones are kind of looking just straight at eye level. Because in that way, you're creating like a 1 or 2 point perspective effect. And that's really important to be doing. So I'm going to match this number to my viewer height. We've also got the type of perspective. So I'm actually quite a fan of normal perspective. I do see people playing around with wide and narrow as well. So again, it's up to you which one of those you want to play with. And we can change that after. We don't have to worry right now. So I'm going to keep that on normal for now. Then when I click OK, you'll see I'm now inside that building, looking at my view. I'm pretty much the correct height for a person, I would say. Obviously, for now, it's all in what we call wireframe view. So it's very messy looking. We can't see our colours and textures, for instance. Before we play around with those, I want to play around with this perspective a little bit. And you see up in the top right, same places where we can usually go to top plan, front, back, isometric, etc. A couple of tabs along, it should say normal perspective. I could change that to narrow perspective, change it to wide perspective. But notice as I change it to things like wide perspective, it's adding more distortion. And all of a sudden it doesn't quite look as natural. It's communicating more of the scheme, but it doesn't quite feel as natural. So it depends what you kind of want to communicate with us. If you want it to basically show a view of what a person would see, keep it on normal perspective. It's always going to look the most accurate, I would say. If you're just doing like an overview kind of thing, you could get away with wide angle. Or if you're doing like a small detail, for instance, like maybe you've modelled a custom piece of furniture and you want to zoom in on that,